This is another review about dividing in decimals. The purpose of the video is not homework. It is to help students review dividing decimals and make corrections if needed on pages 307 and 308. If at any time the pace is too fast, stop the video and rewind. Get out a piece of notebook paper and follow along. If you're doing corrections, you're going to look at your work that you've done and follow along with me to do the corrections on a piece of notebook paper. If you are reviewing, you are getting out a piece of notebook paper and writing down the problems and try them out yourself. Then start the video and see how you did. So let's get started. Number 5. We're going to take the decimal up to the top just like this. Going to put our multiplication symbol right here, and we're going to start working. First thing we're going to do is what times 26 will get me to 9? Well, nothing will. So I'm going to subtract, and I get 9. Bring down my 8, and I've got 98. I'm going to make myself a small T chart right down here. I'm always going to start out with 1 and 10, kind of like a number line. 1 times 26 is 26, and 10 times 26 is 26 with an extra 0 on the line. And so then I think of this as a number line. Where would 98 fall? Would it fall closer to 26, or would it fall closer to 260? That's going to be closer to the 20. I'm thinking it's about 3. 3 times 26 is 78. I would have done that on my scratch paper. And so 3 times 26 is 78. And I subtract and I get 20. So I'm going to bring down my 8, ignoring the decimal. And then I'm looking down here. Where is 208 on this number line? It's going to be closer to 78 or closer to 260. I'm thinking it's closer to 260. So on my scratch paper, I did 8 times 26, and I got 208. So 8 times 26 is 208, and I subtract and I get 0. I think my answer is 3 8/10, but I need to check it with multiplication. 3 8/10 times 26. 6 times 8 is 48. I carry my 4. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 2 is 22. Mark it out, placeholder 0. 2 times 8 is 16, carry my 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, and I'm going to add those up. 8, 8, 9. One number behind the decimal, in my answer. And sure enough, it looks like that my answer is 3 8/10. So ready for my next problem. Bring my decimal to the top, put my times mark there. 0 times 17 is 0. I bring down my 1. What times 17 will equal 14? Nothing. Subtract and I get 14. Bring down my 6, ignoring the decimal. And now I need to make myself another T-chart. I need to make me a chart for 17s. Same thing, I put a 1 and a 10, like a number line. 17, 170. Where on this number line would 146 land? Closer to the 17, closer to the 170. I'm thinking closer to the 170. So I'm thinking that I probably need to look at maybe an 8. So let's get our scratch paper out and do 8 times 17. And I got 136. So 8 times 17 is 136. So I subtract and I get 10. And I bring down my 2. So now I'm thinking, okay, where does 102 land? Closer to 17, closer to 136. I'm thinking somewhere close to 136. I'm going to try about 6. 6 times 17, and when I do it on scratch paper, it comes out to exactly 102. 102. And I subtract. Oh, I forgot to put my 6 up there, which is a very common mistake. That's why you always should do 6 times 17 is 102. So now I want to try and see what I get to make sure that it's checked my answer here. Okay, 7 times 6 is 42. Carry my 4. 7 times 8 is 56. Plus 4 is 60. Carry my 6. 7 times 0 is 0. Plus 6 is 13. Mark it out, mark it out, mark it out. Placeholder 0. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 0 is 0. I add them together. I get 2, 6, 8 plus 3 is 11. Carry my 1. 1 plus 1 plus 0 is 2. That made a mistake. Let's look at it. Okay, I caught my mistake. It was 7 times 0 is 0, plus 6 is 6. And I added. That was my mistake. That's the reason why it's so important to do this. Okay, so 2, 6, 14. And now, how many numbers behind the decimal? 2. And it matches. Good job. Okay, so this is what we think our answer is. I'm going to highlight it. And now we're ready for the next problem. 25 into 160. No decimal to take up, but I'm going to put that one on top. And so how many times will it go into 1? 0 times. Bring down my 6. How many times will it go into 16? 0 times. Bring down my 16. Bring down my 0. How many times will 25 go into 160? I think of quarters when I'm doing it. So how many quarters would go into $1.60? Well, that would be 6. 6 times 25. That's 6 quarters. That's 150. And I subtract and I get 10. And I've got a remainder. I'm not doing fractions. I'm doing decimals. So I put it in my decimal and I bring it to the top and put a placeholder 0 and bring it down. How many quarters would go into 100 pennies? That would be 4. 4 times 25 is 100. And I have no more remainders. So now I'm ready to check my answer with multiplication. 6 and 4/10 times 25. 5 times 4 is 20. Put down my 0, carry my 2. 5 times 6 plus 2 is 32. Mark it out, placeholder 0. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 6 is 12. Placeholder 0. 0. 2 plus 8 is 10. Carry my 1. 1 plus 3 plus 2 is 6. And 1 plus 0 is 1. How many numbers do I have behind the decimal? 1. 1 in my answer. My computer will work with me. And sure enough, it matches. So my answer is 6 and 4/10. And we are ready to do the next problem. Okay, so next we're going to do 8, 9, and 10. You'll want to stop the video and do 8, 9, and 10, and then I'm going to show you the answers and how I did them. So for number 8, I got 5 and 72/100. I checked it with multiplication. Take a look how I did it, how each steps was taken. On number 9, I got 3 and 2/10. I checked it with multiplication. Take a look how I went about it. And number 10, I got 6 and 4/10. take a look how I got the answers on that one. Stop the video if you need to be able to check your work and identify the right things you did and anything that you might have gotten wrong. And then let's do the next two. The next two we have is 11 and 12. You'll need to stop the video and write down the problems and solve them, and then check your answers. I have completed number 11 and 12. I believe number 11's answer is 5 3/100. Look at the work that I've done and the checking of the answer. Look at yours. Identify any issues that you might have had or any success that you had. Number 12 was 15/100. I checked it with multiplication. Stop the video if you need to check your answers. And let's move on to the next question. Number 13's next. It says Corey spent $7.58 of his allowance, and he gave 75 cents to his brother, and he saved the rest. His allowance is $10. How much did he save? Well, first we got to figure out how much he spent. He spent $7.58, and he gave 75 cents to his brother. So all of that is what he spent. So let's add it together. 8 and 5 is 13. Carry my 1. I remember I line up my decimals when I'm adding. 5 plus 1 plus 7 is 13, and I carry my 1. 1 plus 7 plus 0, that would be 8. So he spent $8.33. His allowance was $10. To find out how much he saved, I would have to subtract. So I can't take from 0, and I keep looking and looking. I have to go way over here and borrow and keep regrouping. 3 from 10 is 7. 3 from 9 is 6. Bring down my decimals. 9 from 8 from 9 is 1. So my answer is he saved $1.67. Let's go to the next. Number 14 is about estimation. How might you best estimate the quotient 352 and 25/100 divided by 33? And it gave us 4 different ways. So what my strategy was is I wrote each way down. So they turned the 352 to 352 and 25/100 to 352. Then it turned it to 352 with 30 on the outside. Then they tried it with 30 and 400 on the inside. 35 and 350. Which one of these can we do in our head? I most definitely cannot do 33 into that number into my head. That is not my answer. 30 is nice on the outside, but 352, I can't think of a way that would be even, so that's not the best way. 30 looks nice on the outside. 400 looks nice on the inside, but are they compatible? No, they're not. Then I look at D. I've got 35 on the inside and I have 350 on the inside. That seems a little more compatible. So, because I can bring the 0 up, and what times 35 equals 35? And there's my answer, D. Okay, let's do the last one. It says a class of 28. Each student brought 10 aluminum cans to school to recycle. The class divided the cans evenly into 4 boxes. How many grams of aluminum did they put in each box? This is most definitely a multi-step problem. We first needed to take care of finding out how many cans we have. So we've got 28 students, and they each have 10 cans. So that would come up to 280. Now we know how many cans they have. We need to divide it into the number of boxes, into the 4 boxes. So I divided into the boxes, and each box has 70 cans. And then now I know there's 70 cans, and I've got to multiply by how many grams there is in each can. I'm going to stop right there and let you figure that part out and then restart the video. Of course, according to my math, there's 952 grams of